welcome everybody. Today we're going to talk about using toys to support your child's language development. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to kind of do a brief outline of the benefits of play, and we're going to talk about creating opportunities in play, the types of play, and then some examples through videos, because I find it really challenging to demonstrate as we go through without showing somebody what I really mean by that. So to move on to the first part is to just talk about what children learn from play. And obviously, as a speech and language therapist, my focus is a little bit different from what my focus would have been as a parent. And sometimes I tended to swap hats. And so I'm kind of combining the hats today, taking the parental hat and the speech and language therapy hat and kind of combining them together. So what is important to kind of keep in mind when we think about play and why play is so important. Like Mr. Fred Rogers said, play is often talked about as if it were a relief from serious learning. But for children, play is serious learning. Play is really the work of childhood. And I've heard this said lots of times over the years, but this is probably the one quote that I think rings true throughout. And what I usually try to explain to parents, why in speech and language therapy we use play so often, because that is really the work. And that is why this topic is so close to my heart as well. So when we talk about what children learn from play, the first part would be that opportunity to explore, to experiment with things and to discover. And it starts at the real baby age, and it continues to happen throughout childhood as children go older. They just learn different things. Another thing that children learn from play would be problem-solving skills, which is such an essential skill to have as an adult later on as well. So problem-solving, a really important benefit that children get from play. Also, all of these toys we use have a certain level of motor skills demand, so things that they do with their hands. So we, for example, even talk about something like books where you have to push the button. I find that kids sometimes have to learn how to use their index finger to do the pointing bit. And I find now that kids are using a lot of screens. To learn that pointing actually takes a little bit longer than it used to about 10, 15 years ago. I have to say I've been around as a speech and language therapist a little bit longer than that. So that's interesting that that's changed. But so many skills are it's like Duplo or Lego, fantastic for motor skills, right? And some toys would lean itself more to those kind of skills, which is great. We're going to focus mostly on the ones where we're going to talk about language, but that is an important aspect of play. So learning, the exploring, the experimenting, the discovering, problem solving, and then the motor skills. And then the other really important part is turn taking. Now, why turn taking is important is when we have conversations with somebody, we have to be able to take turns. When socially we kind of interact with each other, we're going to be taking turns. So this is something that doesn't come naturally to us, and we have to learn over time. So turn taking is something that is it may be an easier way to learn through play. It's a little bit clearer to learn it through using toys. So a really important skill to be able to do. Another one is paying attention. And attention would be one of the main skills we need to learn. You can't learn if you can't attend to something, right? So young babies can only attend for certain short bits of time. And what is really lovely about toys is you can maybe play for a little bit, explore something for a little bit, and then leave it, go to something else for a little bit, and then return to that toy. And every time we return to different toys, we expand their ability to pay attention over time. So it's a fantastic way to teach that attention span. I don't expect a young child to pay attention to a toy for a very long time, to be honest. And it is kind of helpful to know it is okay to take a break from something, come back to it. And I'll have some tips and tricks about how we encourage that attention, how we make it kind of a little bit easier for kids to pay attention to those toys. So the next lovely, because there's such a long list, to be honest, I could probably go on about the benefits of play for a long time. But another important bit is about getting along with others. We often play and we learn to play with others over time. Babies often play by themselves initially because they can't spontaneously interact with another child very easily. So they learn this skill over time to have that cooperative play piece that we get later on as they get older. But this is a very important part for your social skills. And then the bit that I'm really preoccupied by as a professional is to the fact that children learn how to communicate and use language effectively through play. And I'll expand on that a little bit more in a bit. And then also, very importantly, we learn how to be creative, how to use our imagination when we play. So those are kind of the main pieces on the benefits of play. Now, the next part that I want to focus on, and I'm just going to move on to my next slide here, is the tips on what to use in play. And then we'll talk a little bit about creating communication opportunities. Okay, so when we want to really make sure that children can get the optimal benefit from that, even a very, very short bit of play, we want to reduce distractions, first of all. So we want to switch the TV off. You want to have the radio off. You want to have any competing noises or any kind of visual distractions. Remove that. We sometimes forget to do that. And kids have a harder time kind of switching off and being able to screen out anything else. They get really quite distracted with it. Another distraction would be to have all the toys available all at once. So what I usually encourage parents to do is to have some toys packed away in boxes, and you might have just a few available that you're going to play with right now. And you can always kind of go and swap them back around again. But if there's a sea of toys in a playroom, that is not the room you want to be learning in. It might be the one that, yes, you can go and explore, and take those toys and experiment with them and so on. And that's okay to keep kids busy and they learn then by themselves. But if you want to create that learning opportunity with a toy, it is really important to then remove all those visual distractions, because it'll be really hard for them to focus and attend to the few toys that you're going to, or games that you're going to be using. So that would be my first tip. Then what is quite helpful is if you have verbal routines. Now, this is a very specific term that we use in verbal routines. What we really mean by that is just start off play by kind of announcing it in a certain way. Oh, look, we have mustache smash. What shall we play that? Or are we going to play the shark game? So we always start something, and whichever way you want to start off games, to always do that the same way, and that we announce kind of whose turn it is in a similar way. And I'll have some examples of that in a little bit as well. And that we end in a specific way. Okay, that was fun. Okay, let's go and do something else. So it's kind of making clear there's a clear beginning and a clear end to play, so that makes it a little bit clearer for them to follow and to attend to what's happening. Because you want to have short, very clear little practice, almost sessions that you're going to have. And if that is just 3 minutes, wonderful. You can get another 3 minutes later on. You wouldn't necessarily sit for an hour doing this. Now, another tip on what to use in play is to follow your child's lead. You'll often hear speech and language therapists talk about that. And the main thing with this is that we want to really, in play, think about what the child is interested in doing. And if they're showing an interest by looking at something or starting to reach for something or exploring something, we kind of go with the flow. The most typical thing we do as adults is we decide, right, we're going to play this game. We're going to play it this way, and this is what we're going to do in this game. Where if we want to foster creativity and imagination and really be able to help a child attend to a task for longer, it is really important that we kind of follow their interest and follow what they want to do. So for example, if a child is kind of playing with a tractor on the ground, right? What we don't want to do is want to go, oh, look at the cow outside the window. What the child is focused on is the tractor that they're playing with. So we can use kind of follow their lead, follow their interest and go, oh, you got the tractor. Would you like to have some animals? Right? So we can bring a new element in, and then if they don't want that, we can offer something else, or we can just comment on what is happening. Sometimes just being the narrator of the story, kind of talking about what is happening in the play, can be the best thing you can do for a child to learn in that situation. Now, I'm going to show you some videos for the next little piece, and that is about creating communication opportunities. Because it is really important, if opportunity doesn't knock, that you build a door. So in play, if there's no opportunity for a child to be able to communicate, how are they going to practice their language skills? Yeah. So if we don't give that opportunity, we kind of need to create it. And this is probably the hardest thing to do if it doesn't come naturally to you. I think for some people, it comes a little bit more naturally, to others to create those choices and to wait and so on. But for others, it's a little bit harder to know how to do that. So this is kind of my communication ninja tips is I think what we call it. So if you want to be a communication ninja, these are the kind of skills that you want to use. So the type of opportunities that we're talking about is to maybe have something in view but out of reach, to create choices, to maybe provide something bit by bit, to use creative stupidity, to use surprises. And the hardest thing of all is to wait. Okay, so when I talk about in view but out of reach, what I might have is I might have a container. And usually I'd have less things in a bag, but it's usually something where it's transparent, but it's a little bit harder to open so that they can see the things or the characters that they really want to play with. But there's an opportunity here to ask for things. So that is creating that communication opportunity. And I'll show you a video of how I might use toys to do that. When we do choices, we immediately, instead of doing a yes, no question, we often ask questions as adults. We go, oh, what's that? What color is it? It's almost like we're testing children. I always tell parents, is the most important thing you can do is to provide information, to model language, not test. So we don't want to be asking a lot of questions. Choices are a great way to do that, because you can go, do you want the mustache game? Do you want the shark game? And if a child doesn't have the language yet to say that, and if they're reaching for it or pointing, that is them then making that request and go, okay, you want to play this game? Sure. And that immediately, whether we're using daily routines to do it or we're using play, choice is a fantastic way to do that and avoid those. Do you want the shark game? Immediately you shut down that opportunity to communicate, right? So next one is bit by bit. Bit by bit, we actually mean that you offer the game or you offer the toy bit by bit. So for example, if I had a bag of Paw Patrol characters, the child might choose one of the characters and we'll take it out and I'll close this container again. So there's another opportunity to ask for the next character. So that is what I mean by bit by bit. Not all play situations lean itself to using bit by bit, but it is a lovely way, especially with young children, to do that. So to give them opportunities to ask for things. My favorite of all of the communication opportunities is creative stupidity. So what that is basically pretending that you don't know, right? Mom or dad's broken. They've forgotten how to do something basic. And kids kind of really get very surprised by that, or it creates a big opportunity to do that. So for example, even if you accidentally get something wrong, okay? Or if, let's say you're going to create a picture, you're using art, which is also toys, yeah? So let's say you're going to draw pictures and you have the pieces of paper, but you have no crayon, you have no paint. So you go, okay, make your picture. And they'll be like, and then you go, oh yeah, I forgot to give you the crayon, silly me. Now, I wouldn't use this too often because it feels a little bit like pranking if you do this too often. But it's a fantastic way for somebody to come in and go, oh, but you didn't give me this. Okay, so it's a fantastic way to do that. Another way to create that opportunity is through surprises. So I might give them the wrong item if they're asking for something. Or sometimes what I do is I hide a picture in a book, and as they discover it, we can talk about it. And I have a little example of that in a sec. And then, like I said, the hardest thing to do is waiting. Okay, so we were talking about the in view, out of reach, choices, bit by bit, creative stupidity, surprises, and waiting. And really waiting is for us to wait like 1 elephant, 2 elephant, 3 elephant, and then saying what we're going to say. Because sometimes we tend to, as adults, jump in a little bit too quickly. We get so eager. We're going to learn with this toy. We're going to be doing all this language, and we don't give the child enough opportunity to process what we just said and then kind of have an opportunity for them to communicate, whether it is a very young child just reaching for something, that is their turn. Okay. And we wait and see, and then we might make a sound. Okay, yay, you got it. 1 elephant, 2 elephant, 3 elephant. For some children, I do 3 if their attention is very short. But for other children, I might wait 5 elephants, so that it gives them an opportunity to really process and give them a chance to communicate, because we're so eager to jump in there, which is a good thing, but it's really important that we keep in mind that they need to have enough time to respond. Now, the first video I want to show you has a combination of some of these in one activity, and then I'm going to show you a different toy where we create these communication opportunities. My son was the model in this video as well.
Okay, so Bas and I are now going to show you how to combine some of those creating communication opportunities in one activity. I find that a people toy, like a balloon, works quite well. The reason why we call it a people toy is because Bas will need me to blow up the balloon because he doesn't know how to blow up a balloon yet. I also put it in a container it's in view but out of reach, so it's a hard to open container. Bas is going to pretend as if he knows he can't open it, but very often little kids can't open this. So, are you ready? We're going to try and blow up some balloons. Yeah, would you like some balloons? Yeah. Okay, here you go. Ooh, is it too hard to open? Shall I open it for you? Okay, I'm going to open it. Ready? Ooh. Open. Will you help me? Okay, we're going to open. Oh my goodness, it's open. We've opened the balloons. Okay, now let's see. So I modeled open. Now we're doing choice. I'm going to offer the choice that I know he's least likely to pick last, just to check that he knows how to do choices. Okay, Bas, would you like red or yellow? Red? Okay. Red is your favorite color, isn't it? Now we're going to blow up the balloon. Are you ready? Oh my goodness, it's a little balloon. Shall we blow some more? Yes? Okay. Ready? Steady. Oh my goodness, it's getting bigger. Shall I blow it some more? Okay. Now, shall we let it go?
More.
More? Okay. Now we're going to let it go. You ready? Ready, set, go. Okay, you ready? Should we go again? Yeah. Would you like some more balloons? Oh my goodness, you can't open it. Do you need some help? Okay. I'm going to help you open. Okay, let's open it together. Oh, it's open. Great, you learned that really well. Okay, so would you like pink or blue? You want a different one? I thought so. Would you like red or purple? Oh, you want a different one again. Okay, you want white. Okay, I had to go follow his lead with this. Are you ready? Steady. So I'm waiting to see if he will try and say it with me. We're going to go blow. Ready, steady. Blow. That's it.
Can I please try?
Use your big boy voice.
Can I please try?
Yes you can. Oh goodness. Shall I help? Okay. More? Okay. More?
No.
Or should we let it go? Okay. Ready? Steady?
No.
Go! Landed on my head. So, you see how I use waiting? Ready, steady, and then wait. Oh my goodness! You almost got it blown up. Should you go one last time? Do you want some help? Bas, do you want some help? Yes? Okay. Ready? Steady?
No.
Go!
More.
More!
More. One more.
Now, should we let it go?
Yeah.
Ready? Steady?
Go.
Go! See how I waited for him to say it? And this is a really fun activity as well.
Okay, so that is our communication opportunity. So using balloons, using it in a container so it's in view but it's out of reach, using the choices of different colors, using weighting, and even that verbal routine of ready, steady, and for him to be able to have that opportunity tomorrow. Now, obviously, if this was somebody else's child, I would not use the same balloon because this was my own. I could use the balloons that way. Balloons are also what we call people toys. So basically, the child needs you, especially when they can't blow up balloons, where they can't blow bubbles. So bubbles would be something else that would be a people toy. Which is a great way to create a communication opportunity because they need you in order to use that toy. So I'm going to show another example of using communication opportunities, and this time with a game with rules. And we'll talk about the types of toys now in a little bit about how we might use that.
Now I'm going to use waiting as a tool to create an opportunity for Bas to communicate. But I'm also probably going to use the in view out of reach because I've got it in a zipped bag and you can clearly see the monkeys inside. And I'm going to use choices. So I want him to be able to communicate what he needs. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
What kind of monkey do you want? Would you like a blue monkey or a yellow monkey?
Red.
A red monkey. All right. You want a red monkey?
Yep.
Okay, so you hang him upside down by his tail. All right.
I would like red again.
You want red again? Oh, that's probably not a surprise. Is red your favorite color?
Black and white.
Black and white your favorite? Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Red again.
Red again. Oh my goodness. Now you're going to hang it on this side or you're going to hang it on this monkey over here? Oh, you're going to scatter it across. Okay.
Red again.
Red again. So you see, every time I offer it, I don't say anything and I wait. Red again. Where are you going to put him now? Whoa, careful, careful. Okay, now I'm going to hang a few monkeys. I'm going to hang 1, 2, 3, 4, same as you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now it's your turn.
That would be red again.
You're going to have a red monkey again. Okay. Now when Bas uses language, I also add to that. He said red again and I added red monkey again just to give him additional language modeling.
Red again.
Red again, another red monkey. Okay, here you go. Another red monkey for you. Oh, I hope they don't fall. Oh, the crocodiles ate our monkey.
Well, not a few because these ones ain't.
Oh no.
Okay, so that is an example of how you can use communication opportunities within a game. Now, I wasn't following the exact rules of that game, but you can adapt gameplay depending. I wanted to kind of show how to use that weighting more so than I wanted to demonstrate the toy. Now, what I wanted to just explain maybe in a little bit more detail is the types of play. Now, it really doesn't matter whether the age of the child throughout these different stages. But you'll find that older kids would be usually more on the other side of this graph, and younger kids using more of these kind of play here at the start. But it doesn't mean that older kids don't use constructive play, but they might use exploratory play a little bit less. So exploratory play is one of our types that we're going to discuss in a little bit more detail. Then constructive play, physical play, pretend play, and games with rules. Now, this is just my way of explaining the different types. So it's not set in stone, but I thought it was just an easier way to explain how you use different toys to do different things with it, and also that you get so many different types of play, and no one is any more important or any less important than the other. So physical play, I think, is sometimes left out of these examples, but is such a really lovely way to explain how you can use things like swings and slides and so on to do the same thing as you sometimes do with other toys. So exploratory play, initially, with young babies, everything goes into the mouth. And that is just a way to explore. It's in a really important stage. And sometimes we get a little bit concerned if babies don't explore using their mouths. So by 9 months, a child shows that he understands what an object is by using it correctly. And it suggests that he has kind of a mental picture of that object in his mind. So using a phone even a toy phone to bring it up to their ears, or using a cup to drink from it, or to feed a toy with a spoon or a cup or so on. So that's something that we really want to see within play. Good examples of kind of exploratory play would be like playing in sand, spade and buckets, kind of nesting cups, pop-up toys, bubbles, like the balloons you saw in the example. And another example of that would be like interactive books. So if you have a lift the flap book, for example, where a child could open a flap and kind of have a look. Now with my green screen, the green is looking a bit funky, so I might use this page as an example. So a child might kind of open up the flap and you'll comment on, oh, look, it's the cat. Oh, cat's gone again. So with really young children, this is a great way to teach them to pay attention to a book, because there is something interactive that they're doing. They're not just listening to a story, which older kids can attend to, but younger kids have a hard time with it. Another way to do that is to use books with a sound button. So we might, this is a well-used book by now, this one. So let's say we have the page with the plane. We can go, and there's the sound of the plane going by, and we can talk about, oh, look, the plane goes. Zoom. Now, sometimes the child can press the buttons. What I sometimes do is I block off all the other buttons that they are pressing the correct button, because sometimes they'll be more interested in exploring that, and that's fine. And if they want to explore the book first, but if we want to provide the language, we want to kind of block the things off that is a little bit distracting. Another kind of interactive book is like these, where the caterpillar book, obviously a little bit too much green in this one, but it has the little worms that you can actually touch and explore them and feel them in the book. So they can physically experience counting the 10 caterpillars, and then one's gone again. Another type of book that I do like, but you kind of need to exercise caution with this one, is the one where they kind of pop up, like this one where the animals kind of have a pop-up section. I find that young children just reach and they tear those out. So usually with supervision and younger kids, I might not necessarily do that one with unless it's a really sturdy one. So I'll just show you an example of how an example of some exploratory toys. I'm just going to show you a little video of me just explaining that in a little bit more detail. We're going to talk about some exploratory play toys that we use for that particular type of play. One of the examples would be bubbles. Now, the temptation here is to hand the child the bubbles and just let them play. But what we really want to do is to create as many communication opportunities as possible. And that's why we like to use some strategies around bubbles. And we especially want to use the strategy bit by bit. And how I would use bubbles is I would firstly hand it to the child so that they can explore the bottle and figure out. And a lot of kids, and a lot of these bubble bottles, they have little bowls in there as well that
intrigue as well. So there's something to explore with it as well. So they can really feel what the bottle feels like, what it looks like. So I give them that, even if they put it in their mouth, that's part of exploratory play. That is okay. We just wash it afterwards. So the next step would be to show them the bubbles if they haven't already had that exposure. So what I would do is do a first blow and then talk about what we see and let them experience the bubbles. And what I usually do is catch the bubble on the wand, because a lot of kids have difficulty blowing. So we want to make it easy. So I'll blow the bubbles. We might, oh, look, bubbles, pop. And then as they have a look at the bigger bubble, we can go, oh, look, big bubble. And we might pop it to have a look. And then what I do is close it really, really tightly. And I'll go, oh, that was lovely bubbles. Do you want some more? Or we can find them. And if they do want some more and they're really interested, I go, okay, let's go get some more bubbles. Let's open. Oh, you help me. And we're going to open the bubbles. So now every time I close and open the bubbles, I have more opportunities. So we can go ready, steady, go with it as well. So we can go ready, steady, and then give that blow model. If they don't say blow, you might pass out if you hold your breath for the whole time. So I would just wait. And then if they don't say it, I'll model it. So modeling is one of the strategies we'd use as well. So we go ready, steady, blow, blow. So that's the model blow, and we catch one and go, oh, bubbles, bubbles, popping bubbles. So you can add some songs to it. We can, oh, look, we got a bubble. Sometimes I pop the bubble on their nose as well, and sometimes on my cameraman. So you can even blow it off the wand. Usually it's easier for a child to blow. You can catch it again. And usually that's loads of fun. And we can talk about closing it when I go again. Okay, so that's how I would use bubbles in a fun way. Another toy for exploratory play, and probably one of my favorites to use other than bubbles and balloons and those kind of people toys, would be these kind of track toys, or usually we call them click-clack tracks, because they make a click-clack noise as they go down. Now you get different versions of this. You can get toys with little cars, you can get toys with balls. So this one has balls in different colors. You usually want to have different colors so you can model different types of words as you do this. Now in this case, I want in view but out of reach as my strategy as well, and I want some choices because I want to model as much as possible. And this one has a cute little hammer goes with it as well. So what we might do is firstly we'll demonstrate how it's used. So we'll go, oh look, I'm putting the ball on. Sometimes you can match the colors of your wish. So sometimes you can talk about the same or not the same. So in this case, I'll match them, and we'll put ball on, ball on, ball on, and we go ready, steady, go. And then the ball, very excitingly, runs out to the end, and we're going to go again. And if a child wants to have a go at it, sometimes the hammer can be tricky. So even if they just push down, that's loads of fun as well. So if we're going to go again, I want to really make sure I get a hold of, it's very hard to get a hold of them. I want to get a hold of them as quickly as possible. I might want to have a favorite color that they might like handy, and I want to make sure that this is now in view but out of reach. They can't grab it. So we'll go, now they know how the toy works, I want to show it. So we go, okay, which one should we go first? You want red ball or orange ball? And then if they reach for one, if they can't say the color, then they reach for it, we go, oh yeah, you want red ball. Okay, red ball on. If they want to immediately make that go, sometimes that's okay, but sometimes what I do is teach waiting, so we can go, okay, wait, let's get some more. Let's put orange ball on. We want to get some more, so I use kind of blocking to make sure that we can do the whole activity. But to be honest, if you just want to follow their lead, that's another way to do it as well. This one is also great to teach turn-taking skills, because you can go, okay, your turn, off you go. Yay, green ball goes down. So you can talk about on, down, the ball, the colors. And now it's my turn. And then if it's their turn, I'll take their hand, tap their chest and go, my turn. So they know I mean it's theirs. They have a go. And then, woo, down. Now, usually they want to grab the balls at the bottom. So when I'm playing the activity, I will quickly get rid of those, make sure I have that last one, and we go, my turn, here we go, have fun, wee, down it goes. So even fun sounds like wee and woohoo, really good for language. So that is our exploratory play.
When we look at exploratory play, and what I meant with I tap them on the chest, usually we want to model what if the child was going to say it as they would if they could. So I would always say my turn, so that if the child copies it, they go my turn. So instead of going your turn, which is very, very confusing. So that's why I do the hand over hand, let them, and they go my turn, so that I'm modeling that what they would say if they could. Okay, so moving on to the next toy. So the next type of toys are constructive play. So for constructive play, you could use Lego, you can use Duplo, you could use any kind of toy like that stacks or that you have a building aspect to it, which is quite fun to do as well. And some kids have kind of a preference sometimes for different types of play. So let me demonstrate.
So now we're going to talk about constructive play, and constructive play have to do with stacking and building types of toys. So I'm going to show you 2 different types of toys and then the different ways I use it. So nesting or stacking cups are really, really good for young toddlers. So I tend to use them. Firstly, you can use them for the purpose of stacking, and usually I show them how to stack it if they've never done it before, and then we do a fun game of kind of knocking them down, so that we can work on ready, steady, go, and knock it all down, and the big chatter. And then when it's all down, we can go on, okay, right, let's go again. Okay, we'll put it on, blue on. So now I'm modeling 2 words. If a child is maybe not using any words yet, or using single words, I would model 2 word utterances. So we'd go blue on. If a child is using single words, so he's going blue, I'll go blue cup on. So I'm always giving some extra modeling. So yellow cup on, and sometimes they can do it and I'll just comment on it because I don't want to take over the play. And then I usually block because they get very excited about knocking this down. So I'll be holding it. And we can go, okay, should we go again? We go again, ready, steady, and we knock them all down. Now, this is one way to play it. Sometimes what I do is almost play it like a game of hide and seek. So we can use whatever characters a child really likes to use. So for example, if a child really likes dinosaurs, or maybe they're into Toy Story or Mickey Mouse, or if they're maybe into In the Night Garden. So whatever characters they like, I will choose those type of characters. Sometimes I'll just go with animals, so like a sheep and a cow and a pig, so basic animals. And then what we'll do is we'll hide the characters underneath. And then we'll go and find them. So then sometimes we do it in a knock-knock game, so we can be like, knock, knock, who's there? Who's that? Right? So it gives us lots of opportunities to go, oh, it's dinosaur. Dinosaur says, roar. Right? And then we might go next one and go, oh, what do you think is hiding there? Should we have a look? Did you see it? So it can become really exciting, and then you can have them hide things and you find it. So there's a lot of concepts we can teach, like we can teach the colors, we can teach in, you can even teach the on, and we kind of hide them underneath the stacking cup as well. So I really, really like this toy as a constructive play toy, and the amount of language you're going to do that is amazing. Now, another version of that play is using the shape sorter. Now, a shape sorter, I find that a lot of people might get really stuck on just going, oh, we're going to give the child all their shapes and then we're just going to let them sit and play by themselves and do that. But there are so many opportunities here for language because we have different shapes, we have different colors, and we want to be able to put them inside here. So we have the open and the close, we can shake it all out. So what I would usually do is, again, use choices. So we'll go, okay, would you like purple or would you like orange? Right, you want purple. Okay, purple. Oh, look, it's a circle. Where is the circle? If it's really hard for them to do shapes, I'll block off all of the other ones and go, oh, look, let's put it in. Circle in. You did it! Now it's even greater, those shape sorters that make a noise as you put them in. So they're great fun. That little pig with the coins that you put in makes a lovely little noise when you do it, even better. But there's lots of different ways we can talk about the blue star in, the green square in, and then once we have all of those things in, that we can take it and shake it all out again. So that is a great way to use like a constructive play activity. One of my other favorites would be to use blocks, and I particularly like these types of blocks because for kids who have motor difficulties, these are much easier to play with than Duplo or Lego. But Duplo and Lego is great for those kids who have those motor skills. So what's nice about these is they pop on top, and then you can choose different colors. So you can go, oh, would you like the purple one? Would you like the green one? And that goes on top, and we can build a really big tower because most kids love doing giant towers. And we have even got a little seesaw that goes on top, and then we can have little characters like the lion, we have a little lobster, and they can go onto our seesaw. So lion goes on, lobster goes on. So lots of opportunity for choices, asking which color do you want, which one should we do next. Oh, look, we're going seesaw, seesaw. Oh, shall we get some more? So we can build a lovely little tower with this. Lots of opportunities to talk about on what colors they want, what size they want. Do you want the small one, the big one? Do you want the car, or do you want the traffic light? So there's lots of choices in this activity, and the same goes for Duplo and Lego, that you can have them request different parts of that.
Physical play would be the next level. Physical play, you'd use a swing, or you might use a slide, and it'll be like, oh, you're going to go down the slide, ready, steady, go. Or we're bouncing on the trampoline, bounce, bounce, 1, 2, 3, all fall down. Okay, so physical play can be a really important place to do that. I don't have a video to show with that one in mind, but it doesn't mean it's any less important. A blanket swing is quite nice to do with young children as well, because you can do the let's swing, ready, steady, swinging, swing, and then we stop, and then ask you want to go again. So that one is a great way to practice communication opportunities as well. Now there's the two more left. The first one is pretend play. So I'm just going to show you an example of that.
So now we're going to talk about pretend play. And one of my favorite things to do is to have a tea party, because that gives us lots of opportunities to model lots of different words, and we can kind of have fun with it as well. So sometimes I have an all superhero cast, so Spider-Man might be joined by any or all of his allies, and sometimes his enemies, so that's great fun. Sometimes we have a dinosaur tea party, sometimes we just have some dolls like Poppy and Peter here. It's really good to have some male and female characters as well, so we can practice, let's give it to him, let's give it to her, she wants a biscuit. So if we're working on pronouns, that can be a way to do it. So usually when kids when their play develops and they're starting to use their imaginations more, pretend play is a fab way to do it. So the same goes for doctor sets. Shopping is a fabulous game to play. And sometimes we will just go with the child's lead and what they're interested in doing. And sometimes even just bringing out the items is already a good thing. Now, I'll be the keeper of things if I'm working on language skills and their specific goals I want. But generally in play, you might just have all the activities there ready and you talk about what you're going to do next. So first of all, if we're going to have a tea party, we need to talk about who's going to get what. So we might have a lovely pink cup for Spider-Man, and who's going to want the yellow one? So she does. Oh, and you know, we have our sugar. Peter needs a cup, and oh, do you need to have a drink as well? So we give everybody the items, and then we can go, okay, so we've got some milk here, we have some sugar, so we need a little spoon for our sugar, and then we also need our, most importantly, our teapot. Now, sometimes you can add water. If you don't mind a little bit of a mess, that's okay. But it's also even just the pretend part of pretending to pour is not a bad thing. So we'll talk about, okay, who's going to do the pouring, who wants some tea first, who'd rather have some juice. So we can give them different choices. Then we go, oh, we'd like a snack. So we can maybe hand out some plates. And another element of pretend play is these lovely toys you get that's like little Velcro fruits and vegetables or other types of foods, because now we can go and we can prepare them and who would like to have some. So we can even go, okay, who wants to do the cutting? Do you want the green knife or do you want the gray one? And then we might go, okay, we're going to cut. We cut the banana. Who would like some banana? Ooh, Spider-Man loves some banana. Poppy wants some banana. Great. Who would like to have a biscuit? So there's lots and lots of opportunities for language. Oh, you'd like some more milk into your tea? Great. Are you all finished? So there's lots of different activities we can use here on pretend play. But these little ones are great because cutting food and so on with a little knife, most kids just absolutely love having the action of that activity.
Moving to our last one is games with rules.
So now we're going to talk about games with rules. Now, those are really good for teaching turn taking, for example, or teaching kind of more complex skills. So the most basic type of ones we can play are like one of my favorites, Pop-Up Pirate. You get different versions of it as well. So you can have little squirrels, like I have a Tom and Jerry one. So there are loads of different ways we can play this. One of my tips would be to put the swords in a little bag, because you don't want a free-for-all kind of grab. You want an opportunity to request. So you want to be able to see if you can get them to ask for a specific color, even if it is by reaching. So young children really enjoy this in particular. So you see, as we go, we can go, okay, so this is a really good turn-taking card to use with a child, for example. So let's say it's their turn now. This side of the card will be up. And then when it's my turn, I'll flip it over and it says your turn, so that it is now red. So now it is my turn to do it. So, okay, so it's their turn now. I'll go, okay, do you want the yellow sword? Do you want the blue sword? And they'll pick a sword. I'll go, okay, let's put the sword in. And now it's my turn. Okay, so I'm going to put the yellow sword in. So you can take your turns then and have a visual, especially for kids who find turn taking challenging or have to do it in a smaller group, maybe with siblings or other children. Then these cards are quite good to use as a visual cue for it. So we can talk about colors, we can talk about and sometimes I make it like, if you make the pirate pop, you win. So sometimes kids get really sad if it pops and that means they lose. So we'll make it that the winner is the one who gets to pop the pirate, which is quite cool. So the more advanced kind of game with rules we can play would be, for example, Guess Who. And what I like about this game is you get to practice questions and describing, which is a higher level language skill. So I usually have a little visual support for a child to be able to ask those kind of questions, because it can be really tricky. So I would have a cue to go, is your person a man? Is your person a woman? Is your person wearing glasses, wearing earrings, going bald, wearing a hat? And then what color hair do they have? Do they have a mustache or a beard? And there's a little handy picture, because some kids don't know the difference between a mustache and a beard. There's one with red cheeks and then different color eyes. So I'd have that available for them. And what's lovely about Guess Who, you can usually download other inlays for the pictures as well. So you can get a dinosaur version. There's a cutesy little bunny hamster kind of ones as well. So, and then you can have like more cool kind of things like G.I. Joe. So you can have lots of different characters, so it's not always staying the same.
Right, I know time is not with us at the moment. So just to summarize, the type of toys, we talked about exploratory toys, constructive toys, physical play toys, pretend play toys, and toys with rules. And then I have some examples about what kind of toys would match that as well. And then just the last few tips on what to avoid. So my tips would be to avoid noisy or flashy toys. Also, don't let gender-specific toy labels put you off. Kids really benefit from experimenting with different types of toys. I know my little boy loved pushing a doll buggy around and doing races with it. Also, just, it's best to not have too many toys available. It's really good to recycle by having some maybe up in the attic for a little while and then swap them around with another selection of toys, because the novelty factor does kick in then still, and you don't necessarily need a huge amount of quantity. And then just remember not to have your own rigid ideas on how to play. Sometimes we have to relax a little bit and just go with the flow on what the child likes to do. Also, don't always use bought items. Using old items, junk boxes, all those things really help to encourage creativity, encourage imagination. Like building a fort is a lovely way to do physical play and pretend play at the same time. And then lastly, I think if I was out shopping for toys, I often ask myself these three questions. 1, does it use the child's imagination? 2, can it involve other people? And 3, what opportunities will this toy give? Because I find sometimes when we have these noisy, flashy toys where it's just about pressing buttons, but it doesn't give you any language opportunities or any way to involve anybody else, and it doesn't involve any creativity or imagination, that would not be the toy that I pick, if that makes any sense. I just wanted to give some opportunity for questions. I know I went a bit over time. I know we were a little bit late starting as well. So I'll let Joe mention any questions you might have. Okay. I think that is kind of a little bit more of a complex question, because what we get the different types of toys, but we also get types of play from a social emotional development point of view. So psychologists would often talk about parallel play, cooperative play, and that usually works across the different ages. It does kind of link a little bit with the types of play we might do, but what a child might use when they're just starting to develop their play skills, their types of play might change a little bit. So for example, if I can use that table as a way to explain that. So if there's a young baby or a young child still really just using the toys to explore more. So if they're still banging and kind of tasting or throwing it to see what happens, those kind of cause and effect kind of toys, that's for usually the beginner stages of play. we find that pretend play is definitely, from a cognitive point of view, harder to do. When they start showing that they're pretending something is like a banana as a phone, that's one of the levels of play where we would look at, can a child do this already? Now, you can slowly encourage that with starting to do a little bit more kind of pretend play, kind of modeling some of those with exploratory toys, or you can start showing some of those pretend play activities and maybe initially just talk about, we're pouring in the tea, but you're modeling a little bit of those pretend play activities. Because when a child develops their play skills, they're going to start just exploring, and then they're going to be playing in parallel with other children. And so they're going to be playing next to them, but not necessarily with them. So that we keep in mind as well during those toy stages. And when they start doing that cooperative play where they're playing with somebody, it sometimes goes hand in hand with using the imaginary play, because you usually do that in partnership with somebody else. So initially, as a parent, you might teach them how to do that, and sometimes they're just not ready for that yet. So you could kind of model it a little bit, but as soon as you see, oh, they're using something else, so let's use the bubble bottle as a microphone, that is an immediate sign that, oh, great, they're moving on to that kind of play level. Toys with rules, you need a lot of attention skills for that. You need to have quite a bit of language around it. The simple ones like pulling something and taking turns doing is probably the simplest. So I'd probably start with those. And then as their attention improves and they're able to take those turns, then you can play the more complex kind of games with rules. Okay, how I would do that is I would probably block all the others that won't match, and I'll tap and I'll go, okay, yellow next. And then they can take that one and put it on. And so I will do all the sorting and figuring out what's next, so that after a while they get used to doing that and almost get that motor plan going and understanding the sizes. So I would probably, to reduce frustration, screen all that and just give them the next one next and go, okay, and still let them do it. But that will reduce some of that frustration, because as soon as you take out all the other more difficult questions or options, then it's much easier for them. I don't think they necessarily go in sequence. I think there are, 10-year-olds who still do a lot of physical play. Like football is physical play, right? You also learn it's a games with rules, but it's also a physical form of play. So they don't necessarily kind of go in steps, even though the visual kind of shows it in steps. It's more like, here's the list of types of things, and sometimes they combine. It's just that babies can't play games with rules. Right, so that would probably be the one thing that we'd keep in mind. Once it's I think you can use a toy to teach different kinds of things. So if we have construction toys, like if we've done the shape sorter stage and they're well able to do those kind of cause and effect types toys, we will probably then find constructive toys that is a little bit harder from a motor point of view, but gives us a similar kind of, okay, we're going to take turns, or we're going to build something that is about imagination. And then you can bring in maybe the barn and the animals, and we can combine them together. So you could build a big barn with your constructive toy and bring in the animals. That would bring in pretend play. So it's more about playing with the idea and not having too rigid ideas of, do we need a tick box? Have they done this? Have they done that? It's more like, do we think they've learned something? Have I created opportunities for them to learn using this? That would probably be more my rule of thumb. I think with a 1-year-old, we're trying to look at emerging single words, hopefully. So I would use the exploratory play, the constructive toys. I would use the physical play, and I'll probably touch a little bit on pretend play, a little bit. But I'll use all those creating communication opportunities we were talking about at the start to just model the language. It's actually the most fun usually at that age. They're going to flit from one thing to another, and that's okay. It's just about offering those opportunities. So for swing, they might be in the swing and you'll be pushing them, and you stop, we go, do you want to go again? Or you want to go higher? So to give them those opportunities to do it. So I would usually focus on modeling 2 to 3 words at that stage.